Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 online action. Today we're here with Santa Claus, and he's going to be vanquishing the nasty ghosts of Halloween over in the distance there. Yes, indeed, Thorgrim Grudgebear going to be leading the dwarfs up against the vampire counts here. You can best believe that he's making that list of grudges, and definitely going to be checking it twice. And unfortunately, everyone written in that book is on the naughty list, so they must be struck down. So, yeah, we've got Thorgrim here. He's just carrying the Great Book of Grudges, as well as Stand Your Ground for that melee attack buff, and of course, leadership and melee defense in a clutch situation. In terms of infantry, we have a center held by the Norgrimling's Ironbreakers, who are one of the best units of defensive infantry in the game. 82 melee defense is just ridiculous, meaning that most units are going to struggle to make solid contact with them. They only have 30 weapon strength. 49 melee attack is really good, though. And, of course, they do have expert charge defense, as well as the blasting charges, immunity to psychology, all that jazz of the Ironbreakers. Very good stuff. We've also got the Warriors of Dragonfire Pass, another unit of Longbeards here. So the Longbeards, again, very good defensive infantry, immunities to psychology, and high melee defense. Same thing with the Warriors of Dragonfire Pass here, although they do have an anti-infantry bonus, and of course a little bit less armor on these guys. They do have the flaming damage as well, which again, very pertinent against the vampires, being that they have quite a few regenerating units. If you can get these Warriors of Dragonfire Pass, for example, onto the Sternsmen, it's pretty much a best case scenario. The anti-infantry and flaming damage will allow them to really work through the Sternsmen much more effectively than other dwarven units. Flanks are being held by two units of Longbeards with great weapons here. We've got one here and one here, and on the extreme flank, another dwarf warrior, just to kind of act as a delaying action. For range support, we do have 4 units of Bugman's Rangers, so this is one of my favorite skirmisher units for the dwarves. They look awesome. They're really dependable and, strong units in general. So let's talk about what makes them so good. They're rangers, meaning they don't have as good of armor as most dwarves, only 40 armor, however they are shielded. You can see them carrying these very stylish Bugman-Stein shields. They do have immunities to psychology, but the main mechanic they have is this liquid fortification, which basically gives them regeneration. So what you're looking at is a skirmisher unit that's shielded and has regeneration, meaning they're going to be very durable in a skirmish-on-skirmish engagement. They also have really nice combat stats. 38 melee defense, of course, being dwarves, very good defensive stats. Only 20 attack isn't great, but 31 weapon strength is, nothing to shake a stick at. They're pretty fast for dwarves. They do have stock as well, and of course, being dwarves have great leadership, vanguard deployment, and yeah, can dish out a lot of damage. They are relatively expensive, but that regeneration makes them super tanky. In this particular matchup, up against the foul undead hordes, they're going to be very, very durable against something like a zombie summon. It's going to take, a lot more than just zombies to take them down. I mean, the zombies can tie them up temporarily, but if you put these guys into guard mode, they can fire away, and being that a lot of the vampire armor-piercing units are relatively low armor, it's a good idea to have quite a few of these guys up against the vampires. They'll hold their own in melee, and they can do a ton of damage at range. Quarrelers don't have technically armor-piercing damage, at least not on their tooltip, but most crossbow units have reasonable armor-piercing damage. These guys actually have 4 armor-piercing damage, based on the factor of the reload rate and everything, but still, it's pretty decent for a quote-unquote non-AP missile. They can even do pretty decent damage against armored targets. So this is indeed Professor Pone, one of the battles that we fought up in the Best of 5 series. So his army is going to be led by Heinrich Kemmler. Of course, he's got the Krell summon. Let's take a look at the other spells that he's carrying here. He's also got Wind of Death, very strong, even against the magic resistance of the dwarfs. And Overcast Wind of Death will pretty much destroy their entire line. He's also got, Raise Dead, Invocation of the Heck, Chaos Tombblade, which is one of Kemmler's items, which is very nice. Whenever he's in melee, it gives Resurrection, Healing, and +5 melee attack to all nearby units. And, of course, he's got a White King accompanying him. Looks like there's also a Necromancer there. He's going to be carrying Invocation and Raise Dead. The infantry line is going to be 2 zombies up front, backed up by 3 skeleton warriors, We've got 2 units of Graveguard with great weapons, the Sternsman in the center, another Graveguard with great weapons out here on the flanks. He's got a unit of Bats out here, a Vargulf, 1 unit of Crypt Horrors, and yeah, 1 more unit of Varix Reavers out on the far side. So very good stuff. Battle's kicking off, as you can see already, so immediately we're going to be throwing these blasting charges into the zombies here and just focus firing with all these units of Bugman's Rangers into the Vargulf. Vargulf is a very powerful, high value target, does not the best weapon strength, but does a decent amount of armor piercing damage and has the mass to kind of pull through lines. So you can see he's already lost most of his health, and this is the issue with a lot of the vampire monsters. They have relatively low armor, so this guy's going to take a ton of damage, and he does get popped by an invocation there from Heinrich Kemmler, but he's still just taking so much damage from those Bugman's Rangers, and he's going to unfortunately lose his leadership here and start crumbling very, very shortly. So he didn't come quite far enough out of range to be out of range of the Corlers, or excuse me, the Bugman's Rangers there, so he is going to go down, and immediately we're going to start focus firing on this next target here, these Crypt Horrors, who are currently bashing away at my line of Dwarf Warriors here, holding out very admirably, getting that invocation to heck, but again, the focus fire from the Bugman's Rangers is absolutely brutal. This unit of Crypt Horrors already dropping down in a matter of seconds here, and at this point it's going to be a pretty well grind out fight here in the center. These skeletons pretty much aren't going to be able to touch the Norgrimlings, Ironbreakers. You can see Krell has been summoned up here in the lines. He's going to be engaging on the rear of these Warriors of Dragonfire Pass. Looks like he's actually got an attack order on Thorgrim, so looks like Krell's going to be trying to deal some damage to Thorgrim, but it looks like he's having a hard time getting some attacks in. Thorgrim is swatting around to Heinrich Kemmler a bit, but, it's going to be a tough time. We have been able to kind of surround on this flank here, holding with the Longbeards on one side and kind of getting around the other side with these Dwarf Warriors. In the back line, the Runesmith is kind of getting bullied a little bit here by this White King, but we should be able to pull him into relative safety. You can see now the zombie summons are upon the Bugman's Rangers here, and they've taken very little damage. You can see this unit's taken almost no damage, this unit's taken almost no damage. This unit unfortunately got chomped on by these Varix Reavers, who are currently chewing on that Thane over there. I believe he's popped that Tormentor Sword to spring these Bugman's Rangers free, and although they don't have armor piercing like I was saying earlier, they will do a decent amount of damage, so we're going to get all these Rangers that can firing into this unit of Varix Reavers here, since it's another, kind of high value target for my opponent. Meanwhile, over on this flank, the Grumbling Guard, unfortunately, they're not refreshing the vigor of any of my other troops. It probably would have been better to have them closer to the center, but they will easily clean up this unit of Graveguard with great weapons, and then be able to pull around into the center pocket. So, Norgrimlings Ironbreaker still holding out in the center. They're relatively uncontested, so they have been able to chuck the occasional blasting charge, and oh man, right on the money there on that poor skeleton warrior, who unfortunately seems to have lost his head, but doesn't mind too much. This Necromancer is just kind of hanging out, doing some nice supporting here, and the Varix Reaver is still just continuously trying to pull away. I don't have any Slayers, unfortunately, but I'm hoping that these Bugman's Rangers will be enough to kind of hold the line here, and they are doing a very admirable job in melee. You can see the Thane is chasing after them very angrily, definitely upset about the situation here. But things honestly are looking pretty decent for the Dawi. In the center pocket here, Krell's just not able to lay the smacking on Thorgrim like he really needs to. He keeps getting distracted by all the Warriors of Dragonfire Pass kind of surrounding him there. You can see Professor Pone's aggressively trying to path him on there, but he's not getting any attack animation, so unfortunately really not getting too much damage out of Krell. He's only gotten 3 kills and, been able to do a little bit of damage to Thorgrim, but see, now he's distracted again and doing splash attacks, which, I mean, he does heavy armor piercing. He'll do quite a bit of damage to these Warriors of Dragonfire Pass, but, Krell doesn't have the best melee defense at the end of the day, and from that anti-infantry bonus from the Warriors of Dragonfire Pass, they'll be able to whittle him down, over the course of the battle, especially when combined with that degeneration. So these, you can see the Varix Reavers have just been worn down through pure attrition. They've got onto a lot of these Bugman's Rangers, but the leadership and the regeneration allowing them to hold out here. The zombie summon's just totally ineffective against these Bugman's Rangers here. These two in the center pocket, who have been inundated by zombies, have lost no unit models so far. That's one of the main reasons why I like Bugman's Rangers in this matchup, because the vampires cannot tie them down with zombies. Well, I mean, they can tie them down, but they're not going to really do any damage, even with like a skeleton warrior summon. I still don't think that would do a whole lot of damage to these guys. You can see the Norgrimlings Ironbreakers moving into cleanup mode here. Very, very cool thematic battle. absolutely beautiful. You can see a lot of the vampire forces are starting to crumble away here and popping off and just not able to hold the magic animating them. And yeah, Krell is going to go down very shortly as well. You can see him falling to the Warriors of Dragonfire Pass there. And Santa Claus is victorious. So, yes, indeed. Very fun stuff. Well played, Professor Pone. Hope you guys enjoyed watching that battle. It's definitely a fun one to play. And yeah, just definitely Bugman's Rangers, man. 164 kills on these guys, killing a ton of zombies, and all of them, well, not all of them. These two got XP chevrons, these two didn't, but a lot of kills across the board, well, at least on two of them. The others, you know, did some good work up against that. Vargolf and the Cryptors both got 0 kills, so that's, what, over 2,000 resources from Professor Pone that was pretty much negated right out of the bat by those Bugman's Rangers, so really like them. 176 kills on those Norgrimling's Ironbreakers, 88 just across the line on the Dawi Infantry, man. 105, 130, 116, 72 on these Longbeards. Great stuff. Dawi Infantry really holding up, as it should. I mean, there are, you know, heavy infantry only faction, but for Professor Pone here, you know, kind of more of a fun build with Heinrich. Believe it or not, actually, Gorst is somewhat of a meta pick here. He does suffer a little bit to the range fire, and this many Bugman's Rangers would have been able to put him down relatively easily, but still, you know, it unfortunately doesn't show the kills from summons. It would be interesting to see how many kills Krell got at the end there, but just in terms of the infantry, Graveguard with great weapons, you know, I get why you bring these guys over the Crypt Horrors. As you guys saw, those Crypt Horrors just got absolutely demolished by Bugman's Rangers. The Graveguards with great weapons don't really have the combat stats to stand and trade with, like, even Longbeards, which are significantly cheaper. So it's a tough engagement. I really think that as the vampire counts, you have to go pretty heavy cav-centric up against the dwarfs. It's tough. You know, it's one of the tougher matchups, I would say, for the vampires, just because the Dawi, you know, the vampires really rely on that attrition and healing, and the Dawi kind of shine in that type of drag-out, you know, grindy engagement. They are definitely a faction that you do not want to stand and grind with, because they will grind you into dust, no doubt. So yeah, well played to my opponent. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you like this kind of content, like and subscribe. I'm keeping it coming with more Total War Warhammer 2 content every single day, so stay tuned for more, and we'll see you next time.